What made you think that a 150-year-old British brand would translate to millennials? I mean, that's a bit of a leap.
Again, we were looking for white space. We were looking, we had fierce competitors, and then, of course, I have every friend in the world sending me all of the analysis of, how many CEOs fail in the first 3 months, how many CEOs fail in the first year. And so honestly, no time to even think about the downside, just time to unite the team together and to say, and then to go to just, we're British, it's outerwear. We're going after millennials, and the reason we had brought in some outside analysis was that right? And it was really fascinating because we were mapping the world as well and finding out where every one of our competitors had 2 to 3 locations and we didn't have one, so that we could see there were, if they didn't do anything else, there were already nearly 300 stores in front of us, right, that we were behind. But the most important fact came out that was in every high growth market around the world, the average high net worth was 15 years younger than in developed markets. And that was a big aha moment that said, okay, not only do we want to target millennials, we should target millennials if in fact we want to get ahead of the curve.
But you knew, even back in 2006, that you were going to need a new way to communicate with your audiences. So talk a little bit about how you got from the need to communicate with a digitally centric youth audience to where you are today, which is arguably the #1 luxury brand when it comes to the use of social media and digital.
Christopher Bailey, who today, he was one of the first promotions. We made him the Chief Creative Officer of the company, and we had worked very closely together. He is much younger. We hired him when I was at Donna Karan, literally right out of school. And, but there was a bond from day one, and just an innate trust, a lot of late hours together, et cetera. So Rosemary had hired him at Burberry 5 years before I came on. So we just, at our first lunch, we mapped out a lot of the things that we wanted to do together, et cetera. So, and because Christopher's 10 years younger, I called him a bridge, the bridge into the next generation. And so we divided and conquered, and through Christopher then, we actually started to reorganize the company as well. We had a lot of what I would call IT people, but we didn't have a lot of technology people. So we also, under Christopher and under our chief marketing officer, we started to revamp the marketing department and saying, okay, what positions do you need if in fact you're going to talk to this audience, et cetera. So, within 2 years, hired a social media director and started building that team. I know it sounds really terrible, but we had ad agencies all over the world that were creating content for us. And Christopher had a very clear vision of what he wanted to do. So we started building an in-house creative media team and just creating that content ourselves so we could have total control and have a singular vision.
I think at one point, all this digital investment, people thought, oh, this must be an e-commerce play. This is about online sales. But clearly it's about much more than that. Is that still a question you get, or do your investors and your constituents understand that this is about a growth strategy?
So about half of the shares in the company are held by what we call 10 long holders, and they don't ask. They get it. They get the journey. But a lot of new coming in don't. And so we talk a lot about it. We talk a lot about it being the greatest marketing gift that we've ever been given. And I then share with them fun facts like more people go on to Burberry.com every week than walk into all points of sale around the world combined. And so, so when we talk to investors, we say, just picture it. We call it the 1 million square foot store, right? And that's the impact that has. And we channel everything through it now. And again, not just for customers, but for employees as well, for all of our partners. And it's funny, I was out with investors most of this afternoon. We just released our year end, so this is the week that I get to do my favorite part of the job. But I start every investor presentation. They've got to have a room. They've got to have a big screen up. And we call it our, whether it's our second half or our first half, but we call it our global highlights. And we share with them what the teams around the world have achieved, 3 minutes only, just to set the stage. Because so many times the investors today, they haven't been into a store. They've not logged on to Burberry.com. I mean, it's sad. But we start with the video and then share with them the vision. But the ones that are not embedded in the journey, it's still a long dialogue to educate them.